Welcome to Deep Dive. Today, we're going to dive into something pretty important, some significant changes to the rules for overseas citizen of India status, OCI. This really affects a lot of people, folks with Indian roots living abroad. And the Indian government has made some notable updates recently. So our mission today is to unpack these updates. We want to understand exactly what's different and, crucially, what it all means for OCI holders.
Exactly. It's important stuff. We'll be looking closely at what the Ministry of Home Affairs, the MHA, has put forward. These new rules come under the Citizenship Act, the 1955 one, and they basically give the MHA more power to cancel OCI status in certain situations.
Right, broader powers. That sounds like a really key development. Okay, so before we get into the weeds of the changes, maybe we should back up a bit. For anyone listening who isn't quite sure, what exactly is OCI status and why is it, so valued? What does it actually let you do?
Right, good question. So the OCI scheme started back in August 2005. It's designed for people of Indian origin, specifically those who were Indian citizens around the time India became a republic, January 26, 1950, or later, or people whose areas became part of India after independence, and their kids, grandkids, etc. And the benefits are pretty significant. That's why it's popular. Think a lifelong, visa-free entry to India.
Lifelong.
Yeah, and you can live there long-term, own property, though not agricultural land work, study. Mm-hmm. It really does make engaging with India much, much easier.
Okay, so it sounds like it gets you pretty close to citizenship benefits, but without actually being a citizen. Are there specific things it doesn't give you? You mentioned property limitations.
Yes, that's a really important point, especially now. OCI status does not give you political rights. So you can't vote in Indian elections. You can't run for office. You can't hold government jobs. And you can't own farmland. As I mentioned, it's a distinct status. And these new changes really sort of hammer home the government's view. OCI is a privilege, something granted, not an inherent right you're born with.
A privilege, not a right. That framing seems key here.
What?
Okay, let's get to the core of it then. What exactly has changed with the rules for revoking that privilege? I recall something about a 5-year window previously. Is that still relevant?
Not anymore, no. That's the major policy shift right there. It's under the updated Section 7D, Clause D of the Act. Before, revocation was generally only possible within 5 years of getting OCI status, and usually it was tied to a serious conviction, something resulting in at least 2 years in jail. The revised rules, they've completely removed that 5-year limitation. Gone.
Completely gone. Okay, so that's huge. It means revocation can happen anytime.
Anytime, exactly. Doesn't matter if you've had OCI for 6 years or 16 years.
Yeah.
If the new conditions are met, it can be canceled.
Wow, okay. So what are these new conditions then? If the time limit is out, what triggers a cancellation now? It sounds like there are 2 main things to watch out for.
Precisely. 2 main triggers. The first one's conviction. If an OCI cardholder gets convicted and sentenced to 2 years or more in prison, their OCI can be canceled.
Okay, similar to before in terms of sentence length, but now.
But now, crucially, it doesn't matter where the conviction happens. India, another country.
Right.
As long as the crime is also considered an offense under Indian law.
Right.
And like we just said, this can happen at any time. That 5-year safety net, if you want to call it that, is removed.
So a serious conviction abroad, years after getting OCI, could now lead to losing it. That's a big expansion. And the second trigger, this one sounds like it might be even more proactive on the government's part.
It is. The second trigger is charge sheeting. This is quite new in this context. OCI cancellation can now be triggered if the holder is formally charge sheeted for an offense that carries a potential punishment of 7 years or more imprisonment.
Charge sheeted. So that means before a conviction, just being formally accused by the police after investigation.
Exactly. Being charge sheeted is that formal step where the police, after investigating, decide they have enough evidence to take the case to court. The trial starts based on that. So, yes, even before a court finds you guilty, just being formally charge sheeted for a serious crime, one punishable by 7 years or more, could now be grounds for OCI cancellation.
That's quite a significant change, addressing things much earlier in the legal process.
It is. It's a major expansion of the MHA's authority. It suggests they want to address very serious allegations right when they're formally made, not wait potentially years for a trial outcome.
Okay, this definitely reshapes things for OCI holders, that anytime aspect for convictions, and now this pre-conviction trigger based on charge sheets. What does this really mean for people? What's the bigger picture here? Why tighten the rules like this now?
Well, if you try to connect the dots, it seems the government really wants to emphasize the integrity of the OCI scheme. By making serious criminal actions, or even just formal accusations of grave crimes, grounds for potentially immediate revocation, they're reinforcing that message. This status is a privilege, and that privilege depends on sticking to legal and ethical norms, both in India and elsewhere.
So it's about trust and ensuring people benefiting from the scheme meet certain standards of conduct.
Pretty much. The fact that these rules apply indefinitely and that charge sheeting is now a trigger introduces a kind of continuous accountability. There's no point after which you're safe. For most OCI holders, of course, this won't change anything day to day, but for anyone who might get into serious legal trouble anywhere, the stakes regarding their OCI status are now higher and the consequences potentially faster.
It adds a layer of ongoing consideration, I suppose. You mentioned the notification came out around August 11th, 2025. Has there been much official explanation or, public discussion about why these specific changes, especially the charge sheeting part?
Official statements giving detailed reasons beyond the legal text itself have been, limited. But the act of publishing it in the Gazette is the formal signal. It shows the government is committed to implementing these rules. You could interpret the lack of expensive commentary as the government viewing this as a necessary clarification, ensuring that the benefits of OCI aren't enjoyed by those facing serious criminal proceedings. It definitely puts the onus on individuals. Anyone considering OCI, or who already holds it, really needs to understand these conditions. It's not just about the perks anymore. It's also about the potential pitfalls and the continuous nature of the conditions attached.
Continuous accountability. The phrase really sticks. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, let's just quickly pull together the key takeaways.
Right, so main points. The Indian government, through the MHA, has tightened the OCI revocation rules under the Citizenship Act. Two main triggers now. First, conviction with a sentence of 2 years or more. Second, being charge sheeted for an offense punishable with 7 years or more. And critically, the old 5-year time limit for revocation after registration, that's gone. These rules apply indefinitely, at any time.
So, bottom line, OCI is being strongly framed as a privilege tied to ongoing legal and ethical conduct. The grounds for losing it are broader and can be triggered earlier, even pre-conviction, for serious charges.
That sums it up well. It underscores that OCI is a relationship with the Indian state that comes with expectations.
Understanding these changes is absolutely crucial for anyone connected to India through OCI. It really shifts the landscape.
Absolutely. Staying informed on policy like this is just essential these days, especially with international status and residency. Things change.
Well, this has been incredibly insightful. Thanks for breaking down these complex changes so clearly. Understanding this is vital, so all the best to our listeners. And we will meet again soon to discuss another important subject.